My first time through Baldur's Gate 3 Early Access, I played a wizard. I legit had no idea what or who was going to be in this game, so it felt serendipitous that I chose to play one when Gale was going to be in it as well, also playing a wizard. And he just happens to sound just like the guy who voiced Alistair from Dragon Age Origins, who was probably my first digital love. Okay, so long-winded introductions aside, I wanted to catch all of the scenes that offer a chance to get romantic and flirt with Gale. There aren't too many as of now, and some have broken animations, but it's a good start to what should be a magical, oh yes, the puns, relationship. Spoilers warning, if you plan on romancing Gale yourself, go do it and watch this afterwards. I'm planning to comment my thoughts on the romance throughout the video, culminating with a conclusion at the end. If you're still here, then I'm assuming you just want to see the romance without having to do it yourself, or that you've already seen it and you just want to see what other people think about it. Now, let's get on with it. Gale is a secretive wizard that tends to approve of the good and moral choices you make. If it sounds like the right thing to do, then Gale will usually like it. He also likes it when you show sympathy towards people, and has a soft spot for animals as well. You will find that you'll raise your approval with him very quickly if you just tend towards these choices. My first character in games like these is almost always a peacemaker, and so we automatically jived well together. There are many scenes with Gale, but I'm just focusing on the romance element here. The first chance you have to flirt is in the weave scene. Technically, there are two options with slightly different responses. Take a look and you'll see what I mean towards the end of the scene.
Oh. My, you startled me. It's miles away. No reason, really. I was just practicing an incantation. What can I say? She's Mistra. Can't quite describe it, the need I sometimes feel to see her to draw the filaments of fantasy into existence. No sculpture or painting could ever do her justice, only the fabric that she herself is and embodies. The weave. Mistra is all magic. As far as I'm concerned, she is all creation. I see you understand. Magic is my life. I've been in touch with the weave for as long as I can remember. There's nothing like it. It's like music, poetry, physical beauty, all rolled into one and given expression through the senses. Is it the same for you? Perhaps we can share the experience by reaching into the weave together. Then follow my lead. Now you.
A familiar feeling, like a kind word and a kind touch at the same time. It's warm and comfortable.
Excellent. Now, repeat after me. Athran Mistraril Kantrak Eo. Kantrak Eo.
Suddenly, the scent of rosewater and a sense of well-being. A sliver of weave that tastes sweet on the tongue.
Very good. Now, I want you to picture in your mind the concept of harmony, as true as you can.
You see, or is it sense, the unmistakable presence of Mystra, the Lady of Mysteries. There's something like the anticipation of a kiss, then the pleasure of being cloaked in peace. You are safe. You are nestled in the cup of Mystra's hand.
Look at that. We're channeling the weave. How does it feel? That it does.
The weave connects you. The moment feels intimate. You realize the weave is making you one. You have but to imagine your desire, and Gale will know it.
I didn't think...
You perceive quick-fire gusts of embarrassment, trepidation, and finally, elation.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting... But it is a pleasant image, to be sure. Most pleasant, in fact. Most welcome.
The weave evaporates, and as it does so, you realize the night feels suddenly cold and lonesome.
Oh. There it goes. How easily things slip away from us, no matter how hard they were in the obtaining. Good night. I enjoyed sharing a moment of magic with you.
If you're watching Larian, I know it's early access, but please fix my character's arms. It's a little off-putting that she's just holding them out like that. I digress. So, my initial thought on this scene was that it felt perfect. As a wizard especially, I really liked it. I really liked the variation in choices for how you could repeat what he was teaching you, as well as the connection of it. It was incredibly romantic, and getting the option to push a thought into his mind of you holding hands, or in this case kissing, was just awesome. I loved his flustered but happy response, and really felt that they nailed it. Afterwards, you can bring it up, asking him what he thought about what you had pictured. He seems a little flustered again, but wants to make sure you know that he's cool with it.
Oh, I was surprised, but pleasantly so. Just like I said, amid the madness that has befallen us, it seems almost out of place to think of a kiss. And yet, now more than ever, it's important to recall what makes us human. Well, you know what I mean. A stolen glance, that sudden heartbeat. Sometimes the little things are worth more than kingdoms. They promise things to come.
This reminds me a bit of that dialogue from Dragon Age Origins, where Alistair talks about the beauty of the rose amidst all of the darkness and chaos, and how it reminded him of you. Maybe that's just me associating the two characters together because of the voice, but either way it's a pleasant discussion. The next scene is obviously going to be the party for saving the refugees. At the beginning of the night, when you approach him, you'll get this dialogue.
Thank you. There's that confidence I like. I thank you for seeking me out. Amidst all this merriment, I wasn't sure we'd have a chance to speak this evening. I wasn't sure we'd have a chance to make merry, just the two of us. We shared a romantic moment of the mind while cloaked in the weave, didn't we? And I seem to recall a fond allusion to that moment afterwards. Allow me to make the following proposition. There's a book that circulates in Ulm, detailing the first 1,000 nights of a newlywed king and queen. They turned everything they did into an art. The art of conversation. The art of taste. Time-honored and newly acquired. The art of the body. The exploration and acceptance of the self and the other. The art of the night itself. I say we take a page from their book. I'm many things, but coy's not one of them. What do you say? That's because I'm full of delights. We'll let the night run its course, and when everything is quieting down, safe in the arms of sleep, I'll come by to find safety in yours.
The first thing that really took me aback here was how forward Gale was. I mean, it was a good thing, I just didn't expect it at all. With his initial reaction seeming flustered at my vision, I thought he'd be nervous about being intimate. Instead, he's talking about studying the body for 1,000 nights. Like, dang, Gale, where'd that come from? This whole scene was a great surprise. The one thing I didn't like as much, because it came off as corny, though, was the whole I'm full of delights bit at the end. It just felt a little too forced. Once you go to bed, you get to see the big mamma jamma of a scene. It is incredibly long because Gale also reveals his secret here. So I'm going to split it up a bit to be able to keep my comments together. Here we go.
I love this time of night. There's almost a reverent silence that accompanies the peak of darkness. And you'd almost believe the dawn will never break. The observation is my own, but I like to think it's a feeling shared by many. The timelessness of lovers. That most beautiful of fantasies. Almost. Now it's real. You taste of untold delights. How about we continue our tasting?
So it opens up so well. It's incredibly picturesque. I actually took a bunch of screenshots here because I thought it would make a wonderful painting. Gale is playing it so dang smooth. That is, until he kisses my eye. I almost died at the line that he is a good kisser because it's like, Gale, I'm gonna get pink eye now. Anyway, getting serious again, I did like the Untold Delights line. Definitely more smooth and less cheesy, and that's good. My character glomps him from the top, and then it fades to the dreaded under construction scene. No! I would have liked to see him be more aggressive here based on how he had acted earlier, but it's alright. It's likely going to change anyway. Okay, now I'll play the last bit that really confuses this romance for me. The revelation. Why does he suck up those artifacts like Cheetos? Well, he's gonna tell you that, and some other stuff you probably don't want to know.
Good morning. Looks like the dawn broke after all. So much for the timelessness of lovers. It's all right. You look even more beautiful in the light. How wonderful it was to break its reverent silence. I know we have to get moving again soon, but before we part, I'd like to tell you something. I'd like to tell you a story. I hope it will be lovely still by the time we reach the end. It's a story full of answers long overdue. It is the story of a man who fell in love with a goddess. Thank you. Once upon a time, not quite that long ago, there lived a wizard in a tower. The wizard was what one might call a prodigy, who from an early age could not only control the weave, but compose it, like a musician or a poet. Such was his skill that it earned him the attention of the mother of magic herself, the Lady of Mysteries, Mystra. He fancied himself much more than that. He fancied himself favored above all others. Perhaps it was not quite love, but you see, the wizard was but a very young man. It was most certainly love to him. Mystra showed him the secrets beneath the veils. The gossamer veils first, draped across the weave. The delicate veils next, draped across her body. Chosen one, she whispered, and she slipped them off completely. Yes, until one day, all too soon, the whispers stopped. The goddess spurned the mortal. The veils were drawn once more, and the wizard was left behind, heartbroken. She might well have had, but that didn't stop the wizard from trying to reclaim her affections. Like so many of the heartbroken, he did something infinitely foolish. One has to think big if one seeks to win back a goddess. So the wizard thought big. In a word, yes, here goes. Once upon a time, very long ago, a mighty lord lived in a tower, a flying tower, to be precise. I'll save his story for another time, but the gist of it is that he sought to usurp the goddess of magic so that he could become a god himself. He almost managed, but not quite. And his entire empire, Netheril, came crashing down around him as he turned to stone. The magic unleashed that day was phenomenal, rolling like the prime chaos that outdates creation. A fragment of it was caught and sealed away in a book. No ordinary book, mind you. A tome of gateways that contained within it a bubble of astral plane. It was a fragment of primal weave locked out of time, locked away from Mystra herself. What if, the silly wizard thought, what if after all this time, I could return this lost part of herself to the goddess? So it goes with wizards of Waterdeep. It is a city filled with the most obscure arcana. He obtained the book and took it into his study. As for what happened next, here. Place your hand over my heart. Let me show you.
You feel the tadpole quiver as you realize Gale is letting you in. Into the dark. You see through Gale's eyes, staring down the corridors of a dread memory. A book, bound, then suddenly opened. Inside there are no pages, only a swirling mass of blackest weave that pounces. Its teeth, its claws. It's unstoppable as it digs through you and becomes part of you. And gods, is it ever hungry.
Of all things, magic. This Netherese taint, this orb, for lack of a better word, is balled up inside my chest. And it needs to be fed. As long as it absorbs weave, it remains stable, to an extent. The moment it becomes unstable, however, it will erupt. I don't know the exact magnitude of the eruption, but given my studies of Netherese magic, I'd say even a fragment as small as the one I carry, it'd level a city the size of Waterdeep. Yes, it is my truth, finally revealed. It is this folly that led Mystra to abandon me completely. I can only hope that you won't abandon me as well, after all we've been through. After the night we spent together, surely we can brave even this side by side. That is a great relief. Oh, a great relief indeed. I don't know what I did to deserve the magic that you do. Many challenges lie ahead, but in this moment I believe nothing to be insurmountable. The road awaits. Shall we? Or do you have questions for me? I'll be honest with you. I don't know. She's my muse still, the embodiment of magic. But the embodiment of love? Only if we ever meet again will I know. You don't. And a great compliment that is, too. You are unique in your own right, and just as incomparable. The orb was kept safe and inert in a pocket of astral plane, suspended in time. If I can somehow manage to expel it from my body while in the astral plane, it will be rendered inert again. Alternatively, I could learn to control its chaotic magic. That is, to succeed where I failed before. Without Mystra's favor, I don't see how that may come to pass. Of course, there could be different answers as well. Faerun brims with more magic than any one wizard could fathom, let alone comprehend. Who knows what outlandish solutions may yet present themselves. Here's to us, and to brand new adventures.
As I listened to Gale's story, the grin I had been wearing faded more and more. He even gets a little raunchy explaining how he and Mistra had made love, somehow. And this is so not what my character wanted to hear. I was thinking about some lovey-dovey whisperings the morning after, not, hey, so, I've got 2 kids with a goddess and they visit me on the weekends. I mean, it wasn't exactly that, but dang, it doesn't sound like good news for your character. Any sane woman knows that it's not good to get involved with a man who's in love with someone else, and it seems very clear, or at least very possible, that Gale is still in love with Mistra. When given the option to ask him point blank, he won't even deny it. He says he doesn't know. The ending feels a little weird, which is probably because it's 2 scenes mixed into one. I like the idea of him telling you after an intimate moment, but I also hate the idea. Personally, and these are my own opinions, it left me feeling kind of jilted. As though Gale would dump me if he ever got another chance to be with Mistra. I mean, she's the mother of magic, how could my character even compare? It's just an awkward spot to be in, especially as a wizard. Like, it's cool, but it's also not cool because jealousy and stuff. There is also a day after dialogue you can get with him. I'll play it for you here.
Go ahead. I'm listening. A night to remember. It was wonderful, wasn't it? That's certainly a word for it. Before we go on, though, do first let me apologize. To share such a night with you only to tell you of a previous lover the next morning. It wasn't the most gentlemanlike behavior, but I had to finally tell you. Silence would have been far worse behavior still. Nevertheless, I am sorry. One shouldn't be all gentlemen. We certainly wouldn't have done some of the things we did the other night. But you first approached me about the other night. What was it you wanted to tell me? There's the magic word.
It's nice that he apologizes, but he's basically putting to words what I had already been thinking. I thought it was a decent save on his part to switch the gentleman angle to naughty bedroom acts. It ends with your character having the option to say, let's do it again sometime, to which he responds, that's the magic word? It feels completely out of place. Isn't the magic word please? And I said more than just one word. How about something more romantic instead, like, a ray of enfeeblement couldn't keep me away, or even just, how about tonight, my love? I'm hoping this is a flub and that it will be changed to something a little more appropriate at a later time. So that's about it for the Gale romance in Early Access. I've got to say it has a lot of promise, but needs some more work. The thing that bothered me the most was that after you guys get together, nothing ever changes. He greets you the same way as if you were friends, and yet you're at exceptional with his approval and are technically lovers. As it stands now, this lack of connection makes the romance take a back seat to other ones, like Astarion, for instance, which has a much more fleshed out, no sexy pun intended, much better romance already. It's really a shame too, because it starts off feeling more connected than it ends. That whole scene with the weave was frickin' amazing. The night at the celebration starts off well, and then the whole disclosure of his past lover kind of ruins it. And there's not a lot to win you back over. I don't know what the best way to fix this would be, especially without knowing what's to come. Imagine if we meet Mistra in the game later on. That would make things really interesting and give this romance the closure it needs, or heck, even make things more complicated. What were your thoughts on the romance? Did you feel intimidated by his involvement with Mistra, or did you think, dang, that's a badass wizard, and feel completely secure? Do you think he will stay with the PC if Mistra returns in the game? Is it going to be Solus 2.0 from Dragon Age Inquisition, where he just leaves you? Comments below. I'm a total freaking fangirl and love talking about this stuff. So if I have time to check the comments and respond, I totally will. See you guys later.